Hello, dearest friends, dearest beautiful co-creator souls of love and light. This is Nanari, Princess of the Sea, coming to you with a new video. And in this video, I have a wealth of wisdom that has been pouring through me for many years that is now accumulated into this video. Many years ago, when I published my second book, Stepping into Spiritual Oneness, under my earthly name, I spoke about DNA, and I spoke about the infinite strands of DNA. What was free from making it in the book at the time, because I knew the consciousness of the planet was not ready for it, among several other reasons why, was the wisdom about RNA. Now, I've been receiving channelings about RNA for many, many years now. And recently, some things having to do with Tesla have come to light from Facebook groups who have been putting some posts up there about Tesla and about free energy and some other things about DNA and RNA. But RNA is really free from being known about that much. We hear a lot of talk about DNA and about restructuring and transforming DNA, but RNA is something that is free from being talked about much. So I have wisdom here to share with you about RNA and the channeling here. I have notes that I've been channeling for quite some time, many years, and now have just recently accumulated some more channelings that have come through. So I wish to share this wisdom with you. RNA actually, you can look it up from the biological standpoint as to what it does in conjunction with DNA and the scientific realm and all of that. And if you wish to get into that, you can go ahead and get into that. I'm going to come at it from a spiritual perspective, and I'm going to come at it from the soul's perspective and what source, the master artist, God, spirit, all that is, whatever you so choose to call this source energy, has channeled through in wisdom to me about it. Now, RNA is actually our origins. Where DNA is a double helix strand, and we have infinite DNA, we also have infinite RNA, but RNA is singular. DNA would be your duality nexus alignment, if you will, or as we called it in Stepping into Spiritual Oneness, divine nexus alignment. DNA is the double helix. RNA is a single strand. So it comes from the singularity or the oneness and was actually our origin. And from that, the DNA came. So much like we start out as source energy, and from source we became twin souls, or that close energetic vibrational match to source of sharing the same soul, then we became the many souls. So from the oneness became the many, and then the many became the oneness. So the same thing with RNA. RNA was our singularity, our oneness, and is our singularity and oneness, our source. And then from that, the DNA, the multiplicity came, the duality, then the multiplicity. Now, RNA is unique from DNA in the sense that RNA self-replicates and regenerates and is constantly producing. It is utilized, then it degrades or destroys and is recycled and regenerates in anew. Where DNA's primary function is that of storing the soul's blueprint, the RNA is actually the messenger of the soul's blueprint. So before we had a storer of the soul's blueprint per se, we had the messenger. And the reason for this is before we had DNA, in having the RNA, you just had the soul coming through the body. So the RNA was the messenger, and then became the DNA as the storer of that soul's blueprint for the memories of all the other lives. So if you can picture and imagine, as it were, if we start out from source energy, since we start out from source energy, and we were immediately just being into body, then we would immediately just being soul in the body. There would be nothing to store anything with the DNA for the blueprint of that memory because we were just being it. And then what happened is we started accumulating lives in different parallel universes and dimensions and different lives here on this earth. The DNA then came in to be able to store those blueprints, the energetic blueprint for the soul as it continued in its different dimensions, parallel dimensions, and whatnot. Now, RNA and DNA combine as one. One cannot be without the other. One cannot function without the other. One is unable to and free from being able to do what it does within the body and within the soul connection and the spiritual connection, the body through the soul through the body, without each other. They require each other. DNA's primary function, though, is that of electromagnetic energy, receiving those transmissions and storing it, and being that bioelectrical signal that calls the RNA forth. And the RNA then is the messenger. The RNA is what carries the soul's blueprint through the body so that the soul manifests itself in the body. RNA also has something that's called an xRNA or EX, extracellular RNA. And this extracellular RNA actually functions throughout the body, carrying the soul's message through the brain, spinal cord, urine, blood, and other forms of bodily fluids. And so what occurs is the RNA is actually what brings the soul into the body. So if you communicate with your xRNA and your RNA, you can heal and transform your state of being, your resonance of being. Much like science is now coming to understand that DNA, certain things can not be changed, as in your genetics, in the sense of, okay, if you have green eyes, but then again can also be transformed. I myself have been said to have green or hazel green eyes, yet depending upon what I'm wearing, for one thing. For another thing, my cellular makeup, okay, again, the RNA, my soul, what I have coming through me and channel, my eyes actually can change color. So while the primary DNA per se, from a physical standpoint of the genes, quote unquote, would say that I have green eyes, I am able to transform my DNA and my RNA. Now, this is imperative for physical healing as well as soulful healing. And the reason for that is that it means that by communicating with your RNA and your DNA, you can actually heal and regenerate. You can regenerate bones. This may seem like an out of the world concept to some people, but you can. You can regenerate bones, you can regenerate teeth, you can regenerate physical structure, and you can regenerate being able to walk again. And this is what people refer to when they say, you know, if you have a belief about something, then it will, you know, come into being. This is what the underlying basis of this is from a soul standpoint. It's not so much a belief as it is a knowing, as it is an being able to tap into that RNA resonance, that essence, the soul essence. In the soul, everything is infinite. And so we're able to regenerate and rejuvenate, if you will. So we could call RNA as rejuvenation. RNA, rejuvenation. And we have seen this happen time and time again from people who have been in a coma and were told that their life is over, and all of a sudden they come back. People who have come back from near-death experiences, such as myself. I've had 11 near-death experiences myself. I've been told by conventional medicine that I have 3 terminal illnesses and that by all rights I shouldn't be here. But because I rejuvenate my RNA, I am able able to be that fountain of youth. I am able to defy the doctors. There are many people around the globe who are told daily that they're going to die of cancer, and if they believe it, then they end up dying of it. If they end up rejuvenating their RNA and believe in something else, which is actually their soul's blueprint, knowing their RNA is reprogrammable, just as our DNA is reprogrammable, then they're free from, dying. People like Anita Morgiani, if you have read or come into any of her wisdom, she was on death's doorstep. She was completely riddled with cancer. She had cancer completely metastasized throughout her entire body, and they basically were reading her last rites, and then all of a sudden she had a spontaneous remission. Called a near-death experience, yes, but what she did is her soul actually RNA'd. It rejuvenated. She rejuvenated her RNA, programming her RNA through thought, feeling, emotion, and vibration as one of the will to live. She had this experience, if I remember correctly, in which she was in contact with Source itself through this near death experience. And I believe it was also her father, perhaps, and had this conversation basically with Source and her father that said, she can come back. And she had the choice. And the moment that she chose to live, she reprogrammed her RNA to live. And so then all of her cells in her body rejuvenated, and she brought the soul completely through her body, and she is a changed woman as a result. There is also another woman who is in the UK who has one lung and has been told that she cannot walk and all of these things, yet she listens to her RNA, she listens to her soul within her in rejuvenation, in remembering the now alignment that she is, rather than the doctors. And Nick Askew is a beautiful soul who creates these movies, and I spoke about him in my previous video, and I will provide a link here in the video description to this woman's story. It's a beautiful story about how she is free from listening to what others say, and she's actually listening to her soul. And so the link for that will be in the video description here on this video. So we are actually able to reprogram our RNA and, in essence, our DNA then with the storage of what our actual soul's blueprint is. Now, some people do come here to be a specific thing, to have cancer, to have certain diseases, to be poor, to be rich, to be, a carpenter, to be a singer, what have you. This is what their soul has chosen in soul agreement before they came here. And in that case, we are unable to rejuvenate the RNA because that is actually what their soul's blueprint is. So we've seen many people, and I've heard this happen just recently with someone who had fallen ill, and they were very surprised because this great spiritual leader, and how could this spiritual leader actually have such an illness, and if you're this great spiritual leader, aren't you rejuvenated already? Aren't you beyond all of this? Well, part of this comes from the fact that he probably, this person probably was not in an alkalinity of his body. He had come down with Bell's palsy, is from what my understanding was, and he was free from being alkaline within the body. If you alkaline the body with the things that I've talked about in my second book, Stepping into Spiritual Oneness, and I've talked about here in my YouTube videos, and the mentoring that I do with people and whatnot, in an alkaline body, disease cannot exist. Okay, it is free from existing. So he was probably unalkaline in his body. And then also the essence of his soul was choosing this as a soul agreement. So his RNA and his DNA was programmed to have Bell's palsy for a reason, for the soul rememberings, what we call earthly life lessons that he was to experience and all of those around him were to experience, because there was this big uproar in the spiritual community about the spiritual leader having this disease and being out of commission and whatnot. And so Sometimes our RNA is actually programmed specifically, and our DNA is specifically programmed for a specific illness, for these life lessons and soul rememberings. And we either choose it for the entire life experience of this life or other lives, or we choose it for a specific period of time as part of what we call ascension, or shifting in vibrational frequencies from one vibration to another, and all the lessons or soul rememberings that come with it. And so, what does RNA begin with? RNA is said to have begun with the cosmos, of course. And from an earthly standpoint, also, it comes from volcanic vents in the ocean floor and clay minerals. So, RNA's key is both vibrational frequencies and sound of the universe, of the soul, of source itself, being alkaline within vibration, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and the body all in alignment, through the minerals and alkalinity of the DNA through the body, which would come from volcanic means, clay minerals, and whatnot, the prana through breathing, which again is the source energy coming through us, and our connection with the cosmos and the earth together. This is what helps to reprogram our RNA as well as our DNA. When we're able to carry that communication of what our soul's blueprint is through the RNA, through the body, then we are able to be soul in body. The RNA also has the capability to travel outside the cells, whereas DNA is unable to do so. So the RNA actually has the means of multidimensional travel, which means its ability to connect with source. This is why it is the soul's blueprint molecule, if you will, or soul's blueprint being in form. The RNA is then the messenger and takes the DNA of your cells and your cellular memory, your soulular memory, the memory of your soul, and acts as the messenger, encoding the soul's blueprint of the storage from the DNA and bringing it forth through the body. RNA transfers the message from the nucleus of the cells to the outer part of the cells and to the outer part of the whole being. So again, it's then how the soul manifests itself into being, because you have both vibration and then matter. And this is how you bring through the vibration of the RNA through the matter of the being. The RNA is the transcriber, or the one who gives freedom of the message created from the soul's essence and soul's blueprint through the body. It translates the soul's message into matter. Now, this is done through what is called codons. And if you look into the biological aspect of it, these codons usually come with 3 letters. And this represents the body, the soul, and source, or spirit. The mother, father, and child as one. Mother and father source, and us being the child of the universe. The source, the earth, and the cosmos, and you, all as one. This is why the Om sound, which is the primordial sound of the cosmos, is actually Om, and it would be AUM. So it would be again 3 letters. Now we expand that out into this because from a genetic standpoint, it is said that RNA mutations occur due to having 1 letter of the codon taken out or a letter added. Now, this is true from a genetic standpoint from the physical being, but from a soul aspect is not the case. When you actually add letters or add codons to your RNA soulfully, rather than a mutation being occurring, you actually have an expansion occurring. So you expand your RNA in a new form in bringing the soul into the body. Now, mutations, genetically speaking, occur in RNA and then also in DNA. And through the RNA, those mutations occur due to environmental factors such as chemicals, toxins, internal thought processes, and patterns that you keep within you, that you store within you, that are no longer serving you. These are all things that can actually mutate your RNA and your DNA. So, from a genetic standpoint, your RNA and your DNA can actually be cleansed and healed as you release these toxins, and you no longer eat processed foods, you no longer eat gluten, you alkalize the body by doing things such as baking soda or raw organic unpasteurized apple cider vinegar or water and sea salt, or alive type foods like wheatgrass and whole organic fruits and vegetables and minerals in the body, which goes back to the volcanic essence, things of that nature. When you are doing these essences of alkalizing the DNA in that sense, you then make the RNA functionable, free from mutations from a genetic standpoint, from a bodily standpoint. Soulfully speaking, though, it comes through communicating with your RNA. So, how do we communicate with our RNA? Well, it's interesting because while we have RNA throughout our entire body, because it is in every cell of the body, which is every cell of the soul, the cellular memory, as well as the cellular memory of the body. RNA's access, actually in its most concentrated and condensed form, is actually in the heart center, where your thymus gland is right above your breastbone. And you've heard me speak of this in other videos, in activating that thymus gland and the butterfly shape that it has right above your heart center here. So the access through the RNA in its concentrated form would be in the heart center, because as HeartMath Institute has shown us now clearly, what us as mystics and seers have known for millennia, and that even in the time before time, is that the heart center is the strongest electromagnetic field containing the soul. The heart is the overlay for the soul. And so the strongest forms of RNA concentration reside in the heart center, the heart chakra. So when you are reactivating or rejuvenating your RNA, you want to come from your heart-centered energy. Now, this has to do with programming your RNA through your environment, which is a healthy, uplifting, loving environment within you already. In other words, shifting and healing all of those obsessions and distractions and addictions and thought processes that I talked about in my video 2 videos ago. If you have been free from hearing that video, I would invite you to listen to that video. I will leave the link in the video description for it. The programming for the RNA then comes through that loving environment within your cells, and then also in your outer experience as well. Loving relationships, loving connections with your food, with the environment itself, being in nature. Because what tends to happen is that when we are not facing our inner demons, we are unable to heal, and we end up projecting that out into the world. And there's a beautiful video that speaks about this called Kymatica, and I will place the link for that in the video description as well, because this video speaks very clearly to the psychosis that is within us and then also within the collective, and how we are to go about healing that. So this is all part of programming or rejuvenating your DNA and your RNA, but rejuvenation for the RNA. Because what ends up happening is if we are free from facing our inner demons and healing them, in projecting them out to the world, what we do is we kill the messenger, which is the RNA, which is the soul coming through the body. And we pay no attention to the message, which is the RNA's message is of the soul. So we are free from listening to the soul. So what happens is then, and I was actually asked this several months ago to do this in a video, and so now I am doing this in a video for the gentleman who actually asked me about this. He was asking about the Kundalini energy and how it plays its role in twin soul essence, and also within the shifting into in the awakening of who we really are as a soul. And so the Kundalini force comes about because what the Kundalini is sent to do is actually be the destroyer energy. Now, I was called by someone in my life the destroyer once. And I've actually come to embrace that. At first, I repelled it, and I had said to him, no, I'm not a destroyer. I'm free from being a destroyer. This is, your perception. And then I realized what the destroyer energy is of the Kundalini force, the Kundalini essence. The Kundalini essence or force is that which appears to be negative seems to have a plethora of actual positive uses. So when you're utilizing the Kundalini force in terms of rejuvenating your RNA, it becomes the destroyer, the Kundalini force does. The destroyer then comes in to break those old molds, those old energetic patterns, those automatic programmings that you have heard me speak about in many of my videos here on YouTube. Those negative energies, those habits, those obsessions, those distractions, those addictions. And it helps you to remove those things from your life that you haven't been able to deal with in facing your inner demons. So the destroyer then comes in, whether it's a physical person who comes into your life, your own self-sabotage, what would be considered self-sabotage when it really isn't, or other situations and circumstances come in your life as a means to come in and move these energies out of the way so that it actually brings you to what we call from an earthly standpoint as a higher frequency, yet in the soul's perspective, it is really just shifting frequencies, shifting that frequency to actually being in the soul. And it cracks these shells of falseness, if you will, that you've had around you, these facades, these things that were keeping you from being the soul of who you are. So the Kundalini force, while it can be the activation of Shiva and Shakti uniting as one and is very powerful in bringing you into the soul of who you are, some destruction from an earthly standpoint may occur either physically in your life or within your energy field or within the feelings, thoughts, and emotions that come up within you in facing those inner demons. And so it's interesting because this all plays its part in Tesla and Tesla's energy and I posted this onto my Facebook the other day because someone had sent it to me in a Facebook group that I'm on, that of Tesla's quote that says, "Our entire biological system, the brain, and the earth itself work on the same frequencies." And I would add to that, and the cosmos works on the same frequencies. So, in other words, our entire biological system, the brain and the earth and the cosmos itself, all work on the same frequencies. And that frequency is the frequency of the soul, the frequency of what we call love or God or source energy. All that is energy. You will hear me use these names interchangeably. When I utilize the word God, I'm free from speaking about some anthropomorphic being up in the sky who smites you down, as religions have taught us and indoctrinated into us for millennia. When I speak of the word God, I speak of that source energy, that all that isness, the Tao, we've called it by many names. And so I use these names interchangeably. Much like in relationships, I utilize the terms union and relationships interchangeably because they have the same frequency. And so Tesla was saying that when you tap into the vibration and frequency of the earth, the cosmos, the brain, which would be actually the mind, the Shikna Ayanaha, the universal mind or universal heart, and the heart as one, when you tap into all of these energies, that is where the source of real free energy is. Einstein said, "We cannot solve the problems with the same thinking that created them," paraphrasing his words. So I'm coming forth here with an RNA, a radically new alignment. We could use that as an acronym. A radically new alignment of Tesla's wisdom and energy about free energy. See, Tesla went and made some beautiful free energy. He created some mechanics and actual physical machines, which are actually being utilized in some instances right now by HARP. If you have done any research and know anything about HARP, you would know that HARP is utilizing some of Tesla's technologies to manipulate the weather. Now, there are those in the frame of mind thinking that this is some bad thing and there's an evil plot and what have you. And again, that goes to the sickness, the psychosis, the psychopathy that is occurring on this planet, of that there is some sort of hero's journey where we have to have some evil being, when really it's the evilness within our psychosis. And all evilness really is that which is separate, that which perceives itself separate from source. So in our separateness of being separate from source, we believe there's some sort of outer being or beings called the Illuminati and this and that, who have projected this manipulation of the weather and manipulation of our monetary system, all of these things, when actually this is what is the energy that the psychosis feeds on. And that movie, Kymatica, speaks to this very well. And I also just did a recent channel about this on my Facebook and my Google as well. And I'll leave a link for the Google Plus channel that I just did about this so that you could come into it. And there was a woman who actually read it, and she was grateful to me, and she posted comments in response to me, thanking me for helping her to actually see the light of this. So within this free energy, Tesla came up with these great machines and whatnot, which was supposedly suppressed. Now, there was a reason that these were supposedly suppressed, because this is actually the cover-up. This is not what free energy really is. And this is the wisdom that Source has given to me about this. Tesla's energy that he harnessed within these machines was actually too powerful and destructive. And that is evident of what's happening now by its use of HARP. Not because some evil Illuminati has it, or that it's in the wrong hands of some small group that is attempting to overpower the rest of us. Rather, what it is that anyone who would have utilized or does utilize that power that Tesla made into those machines would be the destroyer that we spoke about of the Kundalini force, which could be a good thing. However, it's too powerful of an energy because it's the power of ego rather than the power of love. Tesla had the best of intentions. This is free from meaning to say that, Tesla was somehow doing something that was, bad or whatnot. He was free from that, doing that at all. He had the best of intentions. However, that force that he created was destructive by nature because of the nature of the energy itself. Not him or whoever uses it, just the energy itself is so strong of what we call from this earthly standpoint of a negative charge. Since we live in a field of duality, we have negative and positive energy on this earth. And so that energy has such a strong negative charge that anything it touches, it will destroy. So this is why it was really suppressed by what we call the Illuminati. Illuminati actually means illumined ones, or ones who are illuminated or bring the illumination or the light to this world and to this cosmos. And so they are actually, rather than being some sinister group that we've turned them into in this hero's journey, that we have some evilness to fight within our own psyche, if we can turn this around and understand that it is more along the lines of what the Kymatica movie, that I will leave the link for you, has shown up, that there has been this mind control, but it's because of soul agreement that we chose before we came here to experience this as part of this game of life, living infinitely from existence and living infinitely from experience, that I speak about in my first chapter of my second book, Stepping into Spiritual Oneness. This is the game of life, if you will, the rules or the essences of this coming here to this earth that we've chosen. And now giving power to true electricity of your RNA, rejuvenation, remembering the now moment, the remembering the now alignment, is where the true essence of electrical power is. And here's why. This is something I spoke about briefly a few videos ago in my video about being a radical lover and governmental issues. In this world, there's a show called Once Upon a Time. If any of you have ever watched it, I am usually free from watching TV. I watch it actually online, and it was from a dear friend's daughter who turned me on to this show that actually had me started watching it. Now, there's some very deep spiritual and esoteric wisdom within this show if you get beyond the duality of it, of the good versus evil, and you get beyond the context of the earthliness of the show. There are some beautiful nuggets of spiritual wisdom and esoteric wisdom and life wisdom within this show. And this is why I resonate with it and why I watch it. Now, I was just recently watching a recap show about it, and there was something that struck me very poignantly in what was said in the show. One of the actors was saying, if your heart is taken from you, you can be controlled or you can be killed. If your shadow side is taken from you, it can result in instant death. Now, what they were referring to, and actually, I'm not sure if it was the actor or if it was actually the writers of the show that were saying this, but someone in this recap show was saying this. And what this means is it's a metaphor for life and for our RNA, our rejuvenation, which is if you allow such psyche of things like the Illuminati and all of these distractions and obsessions having to do with trying to find the one of your twin soul, or trying to find the perfect job or have the perfect life, all of these things outside of you, and you delve into going in this spiral of the rabbit hole of feeling hopeless and helpless and depressed and angry and frustrated of all of these different things, then your heart is taken from you. And as they said in the show, if your heart is taken from you, you can be controlled or you can be killed. That is how they attempt to control us and to kill the essence of our soul, of our RNA. And your shadow side, if your shadow side is taken from you, in other words, if you don't stand and face your demons of these obsessions and these distractions and all of these things that are attempting to lock into your soul and keep you from being who you are, then it can result in instant death. So you are killing the messenger of your RNA, your rejuvenation. So how do you rejuvenate? Free energy then, going back to Tesla, free energy then is not Tesla or his inventions. That is the illusion. the cover up to what free energy, real free energy is. Real free energy comes from releasing the soul within the body of your RNA. Real free energy comes from within the heart and the mind, the universal mind, as one. And then within us collectively generating such. As I had said before, HeartMath Institute is proving this now. They have been doing experiments where when we all come together in heart coherence, we can generate enough power through the heart to transform the world. There is enough electrical power then in that heart coherence coming together collectively to actually power the whole world and power the cosmos. We would not be relying upon the sun even. Solar power is wonderful. We are relying a lot on fossil fuels right now and wind energy and all of these other resources of the earth. And even those, the solar energy and the wind energy, that depletes the earth of its resources. Now, from a spiritual standpoint, you can say the earth is infinite and is infinitely replenishing itself from source energy. So, no matter what we do to the earth really is free from needing healing. It is we in our psyche that needs the healing, or rather, coming to rejuvenation. The earth itself is constantly replenishing itself, and you can see, even though we have been raping the lands, there's still beauty that comes from it. She still rejuvenates. She still RNAs rejuvenation because she has the one single rejuvenation RNA that keeps self-replicating. We too have this within our bodies as well and within our soul. So the earth is constantly bringing forth the soul through the body, the vibration into matter in every moment. And if we come together and do this, we can power the cosmos to where we would be utilizing the energy of source through us, not our energy. We are infinitely replenished from source, and I've said this in my videos again and again. When we utilize our own physical energy, yes, we become depleted. When we are utilizing the energy from source through us, from God through us, from all that is through us, and reproducing again and again, replicating, regenerating, rejuvenation, our RNA, we create a remembering now alignment, the eternal now moment. And this is the free energy. When we come into heart coherence, this is the free energy rather than Tesla's free energy. And this is why it's being suppressed, so that we can come into our heart resonance, our heart energy. So, how do we rejuvenate? How do we come into our RNA? Rejuvenation, RNA, rejuvenation. The word rejuvenation actually means to make someone or something feel and look young, healthy, energetic again, filled with energy. Bringing back the energy to give new strength or energy to. It is said, I make all things new, Source has said. So, in making all things new, you become a radiant nexus alignment, RNA, by revolution nexus alignment, by aligning your revolvingness of light, giving you that energy, making new again. Now we do this through many forms. One is simply vibrational energy. Being that frequency of love, the frequency of love, which is source energy. So being source itself, remembering that we are source energy itself within physical form. Being that frequency of light. And if you just close your eyes for a moment and you just take a deep breath in and you just get in touch with the divine light that you are, that instantaneously is that healing light, the music of the spheres that transmits the frequencies of spiritual light, of source within you, and automatically, instantaneously rejuvenates you. Being that frequency. Now, it is being said that my voice patterns have a cymatics about them of RNA healing built into them. The reason for that is because of the Lemurian being that I am, the Orion Lyra or Lyra being that I am. I utilize the language of source, which is Lemurian language, then came down into Aramaic, Sanskrit language, Hebrew language, and the other languages. I utilize the RNA through my voice patterns through cymatics, or the vibrational frequency of source. You have your own energetic blueprint within you. This is why when you do toning and you do things having to do with tuning forks, cymatics, 528 frequency, anything having to do with 528 hertz frequency, with the solfeggio frequencies, with the Schumann resonance frequencies, any of that, sound frequencies, crystal bowls, any of that vibrational frequency, if you utilize it on a regular basis in meditation, is the healing light music of the spheres, which brings you into your rejuvenation. RNA brings you into your remembering now alignment, your radiant nexus alignment. The other means for doing this is exactly this: remembering now alignment, being in the present moment. We often have this perception that we'll be happy when we go on holiday. We will be happy when we get this job, when this relationship comes to us, when we are in union with our twin soul, when we have divine partnership, or we have that car that we desire, or that house that we desire. Those are all outer experiences. If we can be in the present moment and being okay with everything that's in the present moment, then we are being in the now. Now, what does being in the now actually mean? Ram Dass speaks of this. He has Be Here Now as well. And he has written that book, and he has had many infinite experiences with being in the now moment. And what he shares about this is the art to life is staying wide open and being vulnerable, yet at the same time to sit with the mystery and the awe and also the unbearable pain, to just be with all of it in the now moment. He was asked, "Are you happy, Ram Dass?" And he would stop and look inside and say, "Yes, I am happy." Then he was asked, "Ram Dass, are you sad?" He would again look inside and say, "Yes, I am sad." Realizing that he had both of those feelings present at the same moment, being in the now, realizing that there is a richness in the moment of the present pain of a broken heart, the joy of a mother holding her baby, the exquisiteness of a rose in bloom, the grief of the loss of a loved one. All of that is living in truth of in the moment. Being in the moment is embracing both the suffering and understanding the perfection in the suffering as well as the joy, the duality in the one in the duality. Getting caught up in the memories of your past, of how beautiful a relationship was, or how horrible a relationship was, or about, oh, I'll feel better when I get this house, or oh, I'll feel better once I'm on holiday. That's a type of suffering, and it's a distraction that keeps you from being in the now moment. Being in the now moment is understanding that all of that exists right now. And then going beyond that, even into timelessness. Being in the moment is timeless and is really the true present or gift of being in the present. What does that mean? To give you an example, have you ever seen two people stand before each other in the awness of being in love? When they first connected, they first eye locked, they first gazed each other in their eyes. And it seems as if, and you've seen this in the movies, as if the whole world just disappears. Everything just fades out into a isness, just fades out. And there's only those two there. If you can imagine that for a moment, if you've ever had that experience or observed it or seen it, you know what I'm speaking of. That is the timelessness of being in the now, being right here in the moment. Because you go beyond the I'm happy and I'm sad and all of that in one moment to just this isness. It can almost be perceived as a nothingness or nothingness. It just is. Because those two people, when they are in eye gaze and eye lock, they're free from thinking about anything. There isn't any, oh my God, I wonder what she thinks of me. Oh, I wonder if he thinks I'm okay. There isn't, wow, I wonder what we're going to do tomorrow. There isn't, wow, this guy is nothing like any of the other guys in my past. There's none of that. In the moment, they're just in the moment. It's a timelessness. They just gaze into their soul, and there's this infiniteness. Bring that into your RNA, and you rejuvenate your RNA, and then rejuvenate your DNA, because that is your soul. The soul itself has many infinite qualities: love, compassion, kindness, tenderness, cooperation, co-creation, helping, the benefit of all of these things and more, imagination, happiness, bliss, peace, calmness, centeredness. All of these are qualities of the soul and are embodied within this now moment. Those are quantitative things that we can place an essence, a vibrational name to what we are experiencing and feeling, to try to encapsulate this isness, this infiniteness of what the now moment is, of being in this timelessness of the presence. Being in the present moment is just being in the presence of God, presence of Source, the presence of all that is. This is how we come into rejuvenation, RNA. So I invite you to come into this resonance and to rejuvenate you. Come into your RNA. I wish you the best that all that life has to offer you, of your soul coming through the body, being in your soul fully and completely. Be love now, for this is who you are. Espavo.